presented by Brothers Truck Parts. Here's HE&M Sol's Project Hudson Hornet.
Do we have something exciting for you guys here on Sam's Garage? We have a 1954 Hudson Hornet. I've got Doug Harris from HE&M Saw. This is his father's car, and we're going to show you the steps to take to restoring a car, what to look for when you're going to look for that project, where to purchase your parts, what systems that you need to take first in steps so that you guys can restore your own project. You younger folks may know this car from the movie Cars. Sheriff, the Hudson Hornet had a huge pedigree back in the day, right?
Oh, it did. It was an absolute terror on the NASCAR track. People absolutely love this car, and the wonderful thing about it, this is my father's car. My father was a Hudson salesman back in 1954. He purchased this, and he used to drive it, and we had a lot of fun with it. So now what we're going to go ahead and do and put her back into condition that we can take her for drives. We're going to go through the brakes, go through the transmission, the motor, and just have an awful lot of fun while we're doing it.
Doug and I are going to start by changing out the rear drums, shocks, and wheel cylinders.
One of the things that's real important when you get ready to change a set of drums out, if the drums themselves are really worn, the brake shoes expand. And so it's real important that you get in there. There's a little slot. They usually have a little rubber cover. You want to pull it out. There's a little tool you can get in there, and you loosen it up. And what it'll do is it'll allow the drums to shrink back up before you pop it. If you try to pull that drum and it's not coming off, then those shoes are already pushed up against the drum and you could destroy it. So we made sure this one was in really good shape before we're getting ready to pull it.
And so I've removed the cotter pin. I'm going to go ahead and remove my castle nut because this drum is actually part of it bolts onto the spindle. It is old school. It is 65 years. I don't know when the last time it was that these rear brakes were removed.
There she goes. The eagle has landed.
Yes, it has. Good job. Now, when I'm doing drum shoes, what I do is whatever side I take off, I put it down on the ground on that side, and I only do one side at a time because no matter who you are and how great you are, you're going to forget something, and that way you can always reference the other side. We've got our shoes off. It's very important that you take a wire brush and you clean off the points of contacts of where the shoes move, and you apply some silicone grease to those areas. Now, so we're going to take our line, we're going to bend it a little bit. That way it's easier for us to put it in the wheel cylinder when the wheel cylinder is loose. There we go. Okay. Do it.
Now we can line it up.
Yep, we can put it in place. This is going to be the hardest part of this job. That little pin has to be transferred over along with the washer and the parking brake lever onto the new shoe. You have to make sure to pry this guy off because that's one piece that you will not find and they don't provide it. You have to reuse these two pieces. You have to bend it back in shape and make sure you lock it in place.
Oh, there it is. There we go. Now we got it. All right, what we need to do here is when we go ahead and setting the brakes up, we want to get our shoes on, and after we have our shoes, we make sure our wheel cylinder, everything is lined up. Then we're going to put our one spring on, then we'll go ahead and then put our next spring on, which will hold it. Then we'll go ahead and you have a set of springs that'll hold the shoes onto it. So you've got that, and then you've got your adjuster. You want to make sure your adjuster's in. So it's real important as you go through those sequences of events You want to make sure you're holding your shoes on, make sure they're in the right position, make sure you get your right spring on, your left spring on, make sure you have your keepers, your adjusters, and then you hold it on the bottom, and then you're ready to adjust it, you're ready to go.
Make sure to check out for run out just in case you got to resurface the drum. All we got to do now is install our shock and we're ready to go.